Hello again, everybody. This is Garrett, and I am coming back at you with another episode of our Pendragon game. It looks like we're only going to have two players tonight. I'm not sure how exciting the game is going to be with only two players, but we will get through it. All right, I see Mason is already in chat. I don't know about Shogun. Um, the player that plays Sanson, and also the player that plays Sir Michael. Sir Michael will not be here. He's got a family emergency. And the player that was playing Sir David, he has decided that this is not his type of game, so he has stepped away and he will be out of the campaign. So, having said that, that lets you that lets you know that we have room. I would like for another uh, night or two to join. Um, and if you want, just contact me on Roll20 and I'll be glad to get you worked in. All right, so let me get my camera going. I notice it's not on. Hey there.
What's up?
Not much, except for my my stress hormones. No. We lost a player, so Sir David, the one that was having mic problems, has decided to drop out. His excuse was that he is going to be starting his own campaign and didn't want to continue. And I have feelings about that comment, but that's okay. Um, I didn't think he was going to last long anyway because of the very first night when I was doing the recap, when I was trying to fill him in on everything that's going on in the campaign because he was a brand new player. He got impatient but he apologized afterwards. But I felt like his his maturity level just wasn't at the same level as ours.
Yeah,
And
that was a bit of a concerning outburst at the time.
yeah, I mean, I thought we could work past it, and we did. But he decided that this isn't his type of campaign, so he dropped out, which is
I've
okay.
I've never once played I was going to say a campaign, but I've never once played a game, video or otherwise, that didn't begin with exposition,
That's right.
except maybe Candyland.
Even then, you know what you're getting into. But I'm playing a game right now. I just downloaded it like 2 nights ago. It's a computer game. It's free to play. It's called hell. I don't even know. I've only just started it. Um, it's on my it's on my desktop here. How do I get out of this? How do I get out of this? Okay. Um, I thought it was escape. Nope. Let's try F11. That'll work. Um, Girls Frontline. Girls Frontline 2 Exilium. You ever heard of it?
No, can't say that I have.
Okay. I saw a couple of ads, got me interested in it. Um, a guy did a live stream or something as part of the ad and walks you through like the general gist. Doesn't really give you any details at all. And I said,
Hmm.
that sounds pretty cool. What it is uh, it's a um, semi-futuristic um, anime style game, right? It's all the art is like in an anime style, and uh, and so you can think of it kind of like robotic, futuristic, post-apocalyptic, however you want to look at it, kind of game.
Hmm.
And you are a commander, kind of like an XCOM kind of deal, but you're the commander, and you move all these characters around on the battlefield, and they fight just like XCOM. That's kind of what got me excited. I was like, oh, this is kind of like XCOM a little bit, but every one of your soldiers is a girl. There are no men,
Hmm.
right? All the men are the bad guys. All the bad guys are men, and your guys
Of
are
course.
and your guys are all girls, or aliens, or monsters, or mutants, or whatever they are. I don't even know what they are. They call them something. They call them Eli's or some Elios or something like that. And uh, but yeah, it's got pretty cool animations, and each character's got his own unique talents and weapon systems. But you're using like sniper rifles and submachine guns and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So it's not like super hyper. You know, you're not using plasma rifles or anything like that. You're not all in power armor and stuff. Even though there are some mechs that you have to fight. Um, I just find it. I just it's like a no. It's like a the reason why I bring it up. The reason why I bring it up. There is more talking in that game than there is actual battling, right? Because it has, and when I say talking, I mean everything's in Japanese,
Ah.
and I'm sit and with subtitles, so I'm
Okay.
yeah, so I'm reading the subtitles, and I'm like hitting the space bar to advance the subtitles, um, so that I can get to the next battle, right? I'm like going space, 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 and th- there's a lot of exposition there. I mean, they're talking back and forth why they're in the battle, why they're being attacked, or why they're attacking this other faction, or the politics of what's going on between the two factions, and why they're getting involved, why they're in the city, why they're out in the wilderness, or whatever, right? And so
Hmm.
it's just you know constant back and forth, back and forth, back and forth fight, and then the fight lasts about 5 minutes, and then back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and then about the fight lasts for about 5 minutes. You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Now I've
One of those.
yeah, I've been in a bunch of fights, and I it's hard to figure out what I'm supposed to do. Um, be, Not because I'm I don't think of myself as an idiot, but I look at the screen, and I'm like, what does retard mean? You know? And what
Yeah.
what does advance mean? Because when you click it, it doesn't mean what you think it means. You know? And I'm like, okay, so there's something lost in translation, right? Because everything's in English. Everything's in English except the cutscenes. The cutscenes are in Japanese with no
Right.
with subtitles. Yeah.
So they probably like just machine translated the buttons, and now they're maybe not as accurate.
Or they're not what I would think they are. They're probably accurate to the language that they like you said, it's probably just machine language switched it over. And I'm like, uh so this girl's got an attack or something, and it's got some kind of grenade attack, but that's not what it says. It says, boomy bits or something, and I'm
Hmm.
like, what is boomy bits? Let's try it. And so 99% of the game that I'm playing is experimenting on what all these buttons do. Because every they call them models, which okay,
Yeah.
I kind of get the impression that they're robotic, and you don't, but androids, more like androids, you know, um, because they're calling them T models, and I'm like, I don't really know what a T model is, but um, every one of them's got their own personality and what do you call it? Abilities, right? And
Hmm.
every 10 or 20 battles, you get a new T model added to your squad, and now I have to learn all of their new buttons and attacks. So it's like it's a struggle, but it's a struggle that I enjoy. You know what I'm saying? I'm like
Yeah.
I really dig it. I think it's a really cool game. Um,
It
I
sounds like it.
Yeah, I've thought about streaming it, um, but there's if I've I've made a big mistake in the. I know I'm killing time really, but I made a big mistake at the very beginning of the game. I'm still in the tutorial. I've already played like 20 battles or whatever, and and I'm still okay, whatever that is. And but I'm still in what they call the new player experience, and I don't know what that really means, but that's what I'm in. Um, there's I made a big mistake the first half of the game, and that's when you go into a battle. When you're done with the battle, at the end of the battle,
Hmm.
there's two buttons at the bottom, and one of them says continue, and the other one says complete. Right? And I've been clicking on complete, like okay, we finished the battle, the rewards pop up, and all the you know all the girls, do the old cheer, like yay, we won, and then so I've been hitting complete, and I've found that some battles are 2 or 3 part battles, and if you hit complete, it just goes straight to the end. Where if you hit continue, you'll go into the second part of the battle. And so the first 10 or 20 battles that I went into, I just skipped over the second parts of the battles. So I've been thinking,
It's
oh,
weird that that's possible.
oh, I know. And so I've been thinking, well, all you have to do is fight one of them. Oh, they have a button called automatic where you can just go into a battle and hit automatic and watch, and you'll see the characters move around and make their attacks, and
Yeah.
after a while it'll be over with. I don't want to play like that. So I thought about just restarting it, knowing, once I've kind of figured out um, my own little tutorial, maybe I'll go back in and restart it before I get too far in. I don't want to get so far and then have to restart.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're not getting Sanson or Shogun. What's going on? I know Michael said something about having a kid emergency. Wasn't going to be able to make it.
Hmm.
So it was going to be just you and Shogun tonight. Um,
Right.
and I was going to. I don't know if you can see the map, but at the very top of the map, in what's called the north, you can probably see that little pin.
Yeah.
That's where you were going to start tonight. Um,
Why?
you were captured.
Oh yeah. Okay. Now I remember.
Yep, you were captured and brought. They brought you home to their castle.
That's right. We were treated well, but we were still being
Prisoners.
kept for ransom.
Right, ransom. I found that because you're household knights, um, your ransom value is 4 librams. That's basically just 1 year's salary.
That's not too bad,
Yeah, it's
right?
no, it's not because I was looking at like Robert. Robert, his ransom is 1,000 libram if he was to get captured. It's a big
Man.
difference. Yeah, a
Well,
baron
so then
is.
it wouldn't have been too bad if we. Wait, didn't we capture some guys?
I think he captured 1 or 2 guys. Yeah, it balances out.
Okay.
Well, you aren't going to be given credit. Well, you'll be given credit for that because your squires are there, but it'll be a wash. It'll be like a trade.
So that means we didn't lose. I'll take it.
Right, right. You
My,
didn't.
yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, it's going to be a trade. But as far as you're concerned, it's just your ransom was paid, and uh, and then you'll head back south. And that's what I was going to do. I was going to have you guys meet your captor and maybe befriend him and maybe become an ally of the North and maybe turn coat. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. You're probably not going to do that. But join King Lot against King Arthur and all that. But you guys are in Gore, which is not Lot's. Well, Lot does rule both Gore and Lothian, but it's not like his seat of power. His seat of power is in the Lothians, over on the right side, where all the maidens are.
Yeah,
What, Dolores? No, wait, no, wait, not Dolores. Castle of Maidens. There you go.
I see it. Didn't.
Yeah, that's the Lothian. Gore. There's a place up here called Strangor. Um, yeah, so you're right on the border, pretty much with Strangor and Gore, and there you have to get south of the wall, and then I was contemplating, and this is just a little inside baseball. I was contemplating paying your ransom, right?
Mm-hmm.
After a certain number of weeks or months or however long it took Robert or King Arthur to get your ransom collected and then brought up here to be paid. Um, so probably weeks or months. And then once you were free, I was thinking of making taking an opportunity to go day by day back down the road, back down to your territory, um, in your home or whatever. But with whatever encounters or adventures that might come along on the way back.
Right.
But I wasn't prepared for that for this evening. So uh, so my plan tonight was just to wash that under the rug and say you guys made it back. But now that I've got an extra week, I don't know.
Sounds like it.
I might put together an encounter or something on the way back. So or at least part of the journey, meet some people or learn some lore or something. Um, but uh, that's really not. Um, I mean, it sounds like it would be fun, but it's not really what the game's about. But but it could be fun. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think you would you rather just get home, go straight to the winter phase, and push this year in the rearview mirror and move on to the next year?
Well,
Or go ahead.
getting captured is an ordeal,
Yeah.
and it should be more than just, oh, you got captured. So, anyways, you're back home now.
Right.
I think a little adventure back um, could be interesting,
Oh,
especially for if it is a generational game. Well, your family has stories. Those are the stories you grow up hearing, and that makes you try to be like a cool knight too. And they have to come from somewhere.
okay. Perfect. So
And we're not going hunting for the Grail, so I mean, even just
I don't know.
one or two
Maybe.
encounters is a lot. Or we might go hunting for the Grail.
Yeah. Pre Grail quest. Yeah. You're like the King Arthur says. I'm in the search of the Holy Grail. Oh, you mean this cup here? I got this a few years ago. Yeah, that'd be cool. No, yeah, okay, yeah, I dig it because I could have gone either way. Um, I I was really thinking about it. I think, and I already have like the whole idea behind the adventure. I already know what it's going to be. I just didn't piece everything together. Um, and I wanted to point something out that you will have learned by waiting in the castle. And I can share this with you and the audience because we do have an audience. Sean is watching. At least Sean. There's a
Hi,
number
Sean.
a number of people watching. Um,
Hi, other people.
yeah. Um, the the north is above the wall. Above the wall. Uh, you're familiar with Game of Thrones, right? Yes, no, maybe.
Oh, I remuted. My bad. Actually, no. I've never gotten into it.
Okay. Okay. Well, let me give you a little Game of Thrones history. It's Pendragon.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. 100%. It's if you wanted to see how Pendragon uh it's like whoever wrote the Game of Thrones because I didn't Bernard? No, I don't know. I don't remember who wrote the Game of Thrones.
George R. R. Martin.
Martin. Right. 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 He must have got a lot of inspiration from the Arthurian legends, right? There are there is a wall. I'm not going to ruin the world. Plus, it's been on, it's been out for a while. The books and
It's been out. I've had spoilers, but you have an audience, so
yeah, yeah. There is a wall, okay? And north of the wall is where all the monsters are. And they have this something called the Black Watch or whatever, and it's basically they man the wall, right? So it's in England there is a wall, and Gore and Lothian are guess where north of the wall. So just take that to where what that might mean.
I used to be on a huge kick for I don't know what you would call the genre, but it's a
Okay,
lot of sort of historical fantasy based around sort of tribal England, Arthurian, or just pre-Arthurian times.
Okay. Vikings or
Stuff
way
like
before that?
Bard or the Crimson Chalice, if you know of those.
Bard? Nope, nope.
Crimson Chalice follows character named Arturo. It plays out a lot like the original King Arthur story, where it's
Okay.
a warlord uniting England, coming from like the. Anyways, but before it got all romantic,
Right, right, right.
but so it gets into the even those had, man, all the monsters are up past that wall. That's where all the barbarians are, and the witches and the ogres.
E- e- exactly.
Yeah.
And but it's not really 100% true because there are, like you would say, there are beasts, strange wild creatures that nobody's ever seen before, and stuff like that south of the wall that exists because this wall is no longer um, manned. It's not. It's not. Um, it's not a fortification to keep the northern barbarians out. It was a Roman wall, and that's as far as they wanted to progress, right? So they built this wall to protect themselves against the northern aggressives and the creatures, the monsters, or whatever. And then when the Romans left, nobody else took up the mantle. It just stayed as like an abandoned wall. And so it gave these creatures an opportunity to cross over the wall and move south in the mainland, right? Into Cumbria or Logres or whatever. And so what that basically means is the fur think of it like percentages. You get the higher percentages up north, but there it still exists. It's just the further and further away you get from the wall, the lower and lower the uh, the happenings happen. And so where you guys are from, which is Silchester, almost all the way at the bottom coastline, um, not Silchester, Salisbury, right? So you guys are almost all the way at the very bottom. And so you are long, far separated from uh, where these creatures would be. And as they migrate south, naturally or whatever, they're usually taken out or killed or whatever by knights from the north or from northern territories. So you might hear of stories of, this guy found a two-headed bear, or another guy found like an elf or a dwarf or, a dragon attack or something like that. But those usually all happen much further north. And that just happens to be where you guys are at. I was
Yeah,
trying
so
to
all the more reason to
have an adventure.
maybe poke our nose into something on our way back.
That's right. That's right.
When,
Exactly.
when will we be up here again? Let's go. Let's go climb the Empire State Building
Yeah,
just once.
that's another point that internally in my mind I was thinking. That's why I thought about this. I was like, when else are these players going to get an opportunity to have a fantasy adventure instead of just your traditional, Saxons versus, type adventure? Well, the Grey Knight, but we won't talk about that. We haven't got that far yet. Um,
It's like if I ever go to Paris, I'm absolutely going to visit the catacombs. If I'm ever in the north, I'm absolutely gonna poke my nose into a weird cave or two.
right, Right. Well, you guys are foreigners, though, um, and you're also in a hostile territory, um, because Gore and Lothians, the Picts are also up in that area. They they're not allied with Arthur, so you would be considered like an outsider. But if it's just like minding your own business, heading south, and you come across a cave and you want to go in it, then who's going to stop you?
Or probably whatever's in the cave.
Well, they might try, but I was thinking about traditionally, how ransoms normally transpired. Uh, that's not exactly how it's being communicated to me through the game. Traditionally, there's something called blackmailing, um, where you trade your armor for freedom. Um, and I thought about that. I said, you could just give them your armor, and then they would like say, on your honor, you would have whatever the difference is from 4 librams to whatever your armor costs. Uh, you would have to, on your honor, return within a year and a day to pay up. But and that is in the game. The game allows for a year and a day to promise that you'll pay it back. And because you're an honorable knight, and they believe that what you say to be true, they'll let it happen. Um, there's also a a business of uh, people that are middlemen that will pay your ransom, and basically think of it like a debt collector.
Mhm.
They buy your ransom. They buy it for half the cost. So if you're a 4 libram person, this debt collector, I can't remember what they're called, but they go and they say, uh, I'll pay his ransom today, but I'll only pay half price. And so you can wait a year and a half for him to go home and collect it, or you can get it today. And some people take them up on that. And when they do, then now you owe this debt collector 4 libram, right? And so you would be escorted home early, right? No waiting, but you would still have to pay him, and it would be on your
Yeah.
honor and everything. So basically, without any risk, they would get half of your, because they're paying half, so they get half of your um, ransom, and uh, that's kind of a lucrative business, actually, running around with all these knights that need to be ransomed back, especially after big battles.
I bet.
Yeah, it's looked upon as a dishonorable practice.
Well, I have very nearly 2 librams on my person.
Do you know what? That's true. Do you know what Lady Gale has? You have a handout for Lady Gale, and it tells you what her dowry is. I think.
Um,
I'm digging. I'm gonna try to find it myself. Lady Gale of Boyton. Uh, does it not say there? 18 librum.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's not bad.
a significant dowry of 18 librum. So she could take part of that 18 librum and pay your ransom. And she would, gladly. Okay, just to let you know, I'm going to zoom in to Salisbury. You might want to do the same. But I'm going to zoom in to right about there. Um, okay, you see the road from Sarum to Warminster?
Um, let's see. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Boyton is that little tree that's right in the middle of nowhere.
Oh,
That's where her estate is. I looked on every frickin' map that Pendragon that I own. I only own like 30 maps. But I looked through all the maps. I could not find Boyton. I want to say Boyington, but it's not. That's Pappy Boyington. Um, it's Boyton. I looked through every single map, couldn't find it, so I asked ChatGPT,
fair enough.
and it said, "Oh, it's on the Great Pendragon campaign map." And I was like, "I have that map, and it's not on there. What page are you on?" "Oh, go to page 100." I go to page 100. It doesn't even have a map. It's text. So ChatGPT did point me into the right direction. And so I decided to use Google Maps. And I found it.
Okay.
And that's what it is. It's a small
So,
little village today.
so her dad's probably like the landlord or something.
That's exactly what it is. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
actually like important, but for that town.
Right. Um you can be um landed without having a castle,
Yeah.
right? She doesn't have a castle. But she has a wealthy home, and fields and peasants that listen to her and her family and all that.
Yeah. It's like part of my mom's side of the family, um someone a long time ago got knighted for giving a bunch of money to the crown. So they were landed.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know if you know
Obviously.
this, but you can buy land. Uh, there's a there I don't know if it's a scam
For
or
the
whatever.
the the title thing.
Yeah. That you buy a 1 meter square piece of land, and it automatically makes you a lord. Yeah, because once you own land, you become a lord. I think it's in Scotland or whatever, but yeah, you can buy bigger pieces of land if you want, but yeah, I thought it was I bet you they sell the same square foot to two or more people. They just put it on a piece of paper, you know. But
I mean, it's not like you're ever going to compare.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. You're probably never ever gonna see it. I'm gonna go stand on my 1 meter square piece of land and feel the
I know there's
soil.
a that reminds me. There's another one. Um, they let you buy like a square foot of the peat bog that they get their peat from for brewing and stuff. And
Okay.
if you ever actually show up to the place, they'll give you one free shot a year as a rent payment.
Okay.
I forget what the brand was.
Okay.
Uh,
Oh, Camel Yard is further north. Okay, I was thinking it was near Camelot, but it's right on the border with Cumbria, near Cheshire and all that. Because I think that's where King Leodegrace is from. I think. Got so many people's characters in my head and trying to figure out who is where and who's allied to who and stuff like that. It's a little daunting. So I try not to dwell on it, you know. I let smarter people tell me. Okay, well, um let's go ahead and end the stream and end the game here. Doesn't look like Shogun's gonna make it. Basically
well,
that means Mike didn't miss anything, so that's good. And it gives me a week of preparation for a side quest.
so could be worse.
Could be worse. Yeah. So um, yeah, we're gonna start next week with you guys in this castle. It's Sir Charles is the name of the Lord who has you prisoner, and we're gonna start with him waiting for your uh, ransom, and that's where we'll start next week.
Okay.
All right, I'll catch you
I
guys.
will see you then.
All right, I'll see you on the flip side. You have a good night.
Bye. You too.
Bye. Bye. Let me close my window. There we go. Sorry, guys, we didn't really get any Pendragon going on. We talked a little bit about it, but didn't get a chance to play. Lost a player. A um, that's always a bummer. And then one of the players said he wasn't going to be able to make it because his kid had a family emergency, and that's totally understandable. You know, didn't no shade at all on that. If that happens, that happens. Um, and then one of my players, one of my regulars that never misses a beat, missed a beat. So it's hard to play with just one person. I probably could have. We probably could have, had a grand old time, but I prefer to have more players so that there can be some inter-party interactions and a little bit of community action. But there wasn't any of that tonight. So, well, now you have an idea. If you watched till this far, thank you. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Be sure to hit the notification icon so when we do go live, you'll be notified. But more importantly, you guys got a chance to hear uh, kind of not my plans per se, but what we're going to do next week. And you now know that I am going to be working this week diligently on a side quest. Not exactly sure which direction I want to go on that, and that was one reason why it wasn't completed. But I am going to introduce a little bit of the fantasy element to the game. Um, Now let's go ahead. I'm not going to GM prep, but what I would like to do is bring up just to kind of share with you guys a little bit. I'm going to bring up my center display. There we go. That's my center display. And on my center display, I'm going to bring up my rule book, not the core rules, because that's kind of the player rule book. I'm going to bring up the Game Master's rule book. Which the Game Master book, just so everyone knows, I do not have in Roll20. Uh, I've been waiting for them to release the Game Master's Handbook in Roll20, and they have not done that. So I've been relying on a PDF that I bought. I also have the hardback of this book, and when you buy the hardback, it came with a PDF, so that's cool. Now, I also want to show off something that I worked on today. I don't have a good picture of Guinevere. In the book gives me some really horrible, like I think she would look a little bit like this, or maybe like this, or maybe not like that, but she would look more like this. And I don't like that. This is a fantasy game, and I'm trying to lean in on the fantasy element. So what I did was I went to Grok and I asked Grok to make me a Guinevere, right? And with a little guidance, uh, Grok made me. What do I have here? I've got like 5 versions of Guinevere. Let's go ahead. I just want to show you what. No, I'm trying to. Oh, okay. It won't drag and drop into a PDF. I got to double click it. Give me a second. We're gonna look at the core rule book as well. We're gonna take a look at some of the creatures. Now, okay. So I thought that was a pretty good Guinevere. Um, but the the stats for Guinevere, I think I've got it around here somewhere. Guinevere card. Yeah, I actually have her card. Okay, this is Guinevere's card in the game. Now remember, a human, uh, most of the humans that the players are encountering have stats between about 3 and 18. Just like D&D, you know, 18 being actually 3 to 15 really, but 18 is like the human maximum because you can raise it over time, you can make it better, but you're limited by 18. But if you look at Guinevere, her appearance is 22. So this tells me that she's got supernatural beauty, right? And now it's got a little asterisk by it, and that says, note, Guinevere possesses transcendent beauty. Okay, she has transcendent beauty. So I told Grok that okay, don't say. I told Grok that that wasn't good enough, right? And so Grok made me this, and I was like, okay, now we're talking. Now we're leaning into what I think could be a Guinevere, right? But I said no. I mean, that's probably leaning a little bit too much into my fantasies. We have to pull that back a little bit. So I got Grok to make that, right? And so um, added a bodice and long sleeves. I made a point to have long sleeves. Um, and I'm like, okay, there we go. Now we're getting into what I think Guinevere should have. And then I said, but I don't think it should be, I don't think the bodice should have that V neck like that. That seems like that would be more of a modern take on a dress or something. So so we went with that one, right? It seems like it's a little bit more uh coverage, you know. So I think we're gonna go with this one. We got the castle in the background and everything. And so this is what Grok made for me. And I'm going to use this one probably. I think that's the one I'm going to be using for, I would have liked to have used this one, but, uh, and then this one, she had like darker hair in the initial implementation was darker hair. And then it gradually got blonder and blonder. And, well, I guess not blonder and blonder, but she got some seriously blue eyes there. I don't know, the lighting doesn't really show, but I think she's pretty. That's not a real woman. This is AI generated, but it looks good. Okay, so that was Grok. um, because they are going to meet her. Um, they're actually going to meet her before she marries Arthur. Um, and there is something called involuntary adoration, which basically means she casts a spell on you. She doesn't do it. She doesn't actually go mumbo jumbo, whiz bang, you know, uh, abracadabra and cast a spell on you. What happens is it's like it just happens, right? And so in the game you have to roll dice to not love her. Um, yeah, I struggled with Grok. Um, there was 20, 30 pictures that I discarded because they were just ridiculous. So let me go to, here it is, the bestiary. A little inside baseball here. Probably not. He's mowing.
One half of our door right there.
Oh, is he?
When Alex mows, I have her do her side.
Yeah. This might be a little too big. Okay. So when you're talking about a beast, right? A beast can be anything from an animal to a monster, right? And we've got, these are like dogs. You got bull, hawk, just stuff that you would expect. What is an auroch? They are majestic, dark coated, primordial cattle that stand 9 feet high at the shoulder. Wow. Okay. And then you got bear and boar and elk and all kinds of crazy stuff. Like, what the heck is that? But a fox. So it's good that the Game Master's Guide actually gave me some beasts. So now if I wanted to design my own, I would have a starting point to, like, oh, okay, this is about what I'm looking for, kind of idea. Um, but here's the chapter I'm definitely going to be digging into, specifically going forward after the Gray Knight module. After that, it's going to be a lot of this. Um, okay, there's fairy gramarye and fiendish trickery, and then there's fairy banes, fairy beasts. You got diminutive fairies, cockatrice, um, dire animals. There's a doppelganger, and then everybody's favorite, the dragon. Look at the size on that. Size 80. When you're talking, and this is just a normal dragon. There's bigger, there's smaller. This is like your mid-ranged, four-legged, flying, horned, reptile-like creature, right? No Arthurian book is complete without one. So that tells me there's got to be, they're all over the place, right? Strength of 80. Remember, humans, I keep looking over here, but you don't see me because I turn my camera off. But humans, 3 to 18. Yeah. So I don't know if you know my players or any of their characters, but they have somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 hit points. Plus their armor is 10. So 40. We'll go with 40. And then if they get their shield in the way, it's like 46, right? So how much damage does the claw do? 16d6. And to hit, he's rolling a 17 or less on a d20. So this dragon is going to kill you with one claw swipe. It's like, you're down 0 hit points. Probably lost an arm or something. Okay, moving on. We're not. So I'm gonna if I introduce a dragon, it's gonna be um what's the media res? No, it's gonna be imposing and dangerous, and as it should be. It's not like something just to be like, let's go kill the dragon and get the treasure. No, it's gonna be, oh my god, it's a dragon. If we attack a dragon, we're all gonna die. That's the kind of storyline I want with it when it comes to a dragon. Um, so I'm not gonna just throw them in willy nilly. Is my point. I'm gonna have very specific reasons why I might throw in a dragon. And there are other creatures that I have no idea what they are. So like this thing right here, I think is a Fashan, a Fashan. It's a strange looking conglomeration of human body parts. A single leg supports a torso with a single arm. That's just crazy. Okay, there's a Barghest. Barghests are all over. Everybody has a Barghest. It's like a big dog creature. Um, Kusith, I don't know what that is. You got fairy horse, red caps, unicorns, a brownie. Okay, dwarfs, right? So the dwarves of Arthurian literature, and it talks about the dwarves. So we might dig into a dwarf culture. That might be cool. Um, and then there's dwarf stats. They have a size of 10 because they're super small. But they have a really high strength to make up for it. So their hit points are 27, which is pretty much normal human. Looks like he's got a really high dex as well, and a high con. So these dwarves are pretty good. They don't give appearance. Huh, interesting. And then there's elves, right? Look at that, 20, 20, 20, 20, 20. That's pretty cool. So my thought is, I know this is not exactly what I'm thinking, but just bear with me. I'm still in the creative process, and part of my creative process is bouncing ideas off myself. And they're going to be ransomed off after a month or two, so it'll be around June-ish when they get released, and they're going to head south to go home, right? To report back to their Lord Robert. Let them know that they're safe and they've been ransomed and everything, and the payment came through. So they're going to start heading south on horseback. They're not gonna have their squires with them. They're not gonna have all their gear. They're gonna have a lot of gear. They're gonna have a lot of stuff, and the Lord is gonna provide them with enough to get out of their kingdom. And then after that, they'll have to take care of it themselves. But so it's just going to be the three of them, and they're going to be heading south along the main road or whatever, just so they can get out of the kingdom. And then some stop. They're going to stop in an inn somewhere. I this this is probably going to happen. They're going to stop in an inn. Once word goes around the village where they stop, this is all hypothetical. Once word makes it to the villagers where they hold up, uh, a villager or two or some of the villagers will show up asking for help, to get the players to um, to help. The And the idea is there is a community of people that live in the woods that help the villagers with hunting and food gathering and stuff like that. Um, and and they become friends with the villagers. And this community has told the villagers that one of their people has been kidnapped, lost, uh, captured or whatever, and they don't have any real way to go deal with it. So they came to the villagers for help, but the villagers had to refuse because they don't have any way to deal with it. Because I don't know if you know this, but possessing weapons is against the law in every kingdom, unless you're part of the guard, or if you're a knight. And because these knights came through and they're going to be in armor and weapons and everything, that they're going to be approached saying, "Hey, can you help us out? Uh, and if you do, then we'll be forever in your debt." Now, I don't know what kind of reward that they might offer their next born son, or they might offer their daughters, or they might, uh, probably not, because it's not their community. it's the the community that's in the woods. Spoiler alert, they're going to be elves, and these villagers are not going to reveal that. They're just going to say that a boy or something, a damsel in distress, was kidnapped or something. And so, but they're not going to say, hey, they're a bunch of elves. And so the players, being good, honorable, just, heroic knights, will probably say yes. They don't have to. But if they do, then they'll go into the destination, wherever this is, and rescue these personalities. And they're going to rescue them from possibly goblins, possibly something else, hags, maybe, um, a fiend of some kind, you know, a fiendish knight might rule over these goblins, or a Cinnamon? What is this? A devilish. I think a Cinnamon is like a dog. The dandy dog? Yeah, probably not that. It's not going to be a giant, even though giants are very popular. It could be an ogre. Maybe an ogre. See, and then there's also called wood folk or wild folk. Um, but they're not going to be wood folk. They're going to be elves. Because I want them to have a interaction with elves. Um, and that's pretty much it. Now, these goblins might not be threatening enough. So I was thinking I would make a variety of different types of goblins. There is, in other literatures, not necessarily Arthurian, but in other literatures, you've got, um, think RuneQuest, right? Which has a lot of the same stat lines as Pendragon. Um, in RuneQuest, you got something kind of called a troll kin, which is like a goblin. Then you got a troll, which is, if you think of a troll, think of it kind of like a orc. Then they've got dark trolls, which are, think of them like Urukai. They're like really big, or in Warhammer, like black orcs or something. They're like really big orcs. And then I can't remember, but I think there's another level up from troll. I think it's from dark troll. I think they cave troll or something. But they've got these really big trolls, which are kind of like ogres, right? And so I was thinking I could kind of shoehorn some other types of goblins in there, make them like bigger humanoid goblins, like an orc, and have them working for this knight, like a fiendish dark knight or something like that. Um, and these goblins, this is me brainstorming, these goblins were, spoiler alert, if you're one of my players, you need to not watch any further than this. You shouldn't have watched this far anyway. Maybe I should have said it earlier. You need to disconnect if you're one of my players. But you shouldn't watch the live streams anyway. But it's going to be like the start of a bigger narrative. So, like, they rescue the elves from the goblins, but there's going to be some scrolls and some notes and stuff like that that the players can't read because it's written in some kind of foreign language. But the elves can read it, or at least maybe one of the elves back in the village can read it. So they bring the elf prisoners back to their village. They get like rewarded with maybe moonshine or whatever, and they will read that scroll. And that scroll is from the Dark Knight that said, I need a fairy or an elven fairy style sacrifice, and we're going to do it at a certain date. And that's why these orcs didn't just immediately kill them. They were holding them for the Dark Knight to eventually show up. And so then now they learn that there's going to be some kind of a relationship between these orcs and the Dark Knight, and then maybe they can lay in wait or set a trap or something like that for when the Dark Knight shows up to perform this ritual, expecting his goblins and the elves to be there, and then the players jump him or something. And that'll be the end of that little scenario, because I just want it to be a side quest. It's not an actual main quest. And then maybe this Dark Knight is in possession of something powerful, like a magic sword or a shield of blocking or maybe a helmet of night vision or something, right? And then the players can get that, and they're rewarded with that, you know. So that's my plan. That's what I plan to do. Now I just have to put it to paper and get it all set up, get some maps, get some characters built, some pictures, and we'll be off to the races. All right, guys. Well, that is what I plan to do this week, and I will see you next Thursday, when it comes to Pendragon. And again, if you're interested in a Pendragon campaign, you shouldn't have been listening this far, but if you did, that's okay. We'll get over it. Drop me a message in Roll20, and hopefully, let's. Yeah, you can find me right here. My name is Derek, and the campaign title is Pendragon: Grey Knight Campaign. It says it's disabled, but that's because the date has passed. So the next date will be the 7th at 7 p.m. Save. Now it's active. So if you're interested, just let me know, and we'll get you plugged in. We'll get you a character and figure out. We'll take a night during the week and we'll make a character, and you can join the players on their adventures in the England of Arthur. All right, I'll catch you. I am planning on streaming tonight, so if you're up and available, I will be streaming Star Citizen, maybe, and then I will be definitely streaming some Skyrim. So, and I don't think I'm going to stream the girls until I get that figured out. But I think I do want to stream it. I just haven't figured out how or when. All right, you guys. I'll catch you in the next one.